SCP. This is Dr. Bailey, and my co-host today is...
Hi, everyone. I'm Miss Lee.
And our awesome school counselor. So today, this is a bit of a lighthearted conversation, but it's serious. It's how to talk to a teenager, or how to get your teenager to talk to you.
Yes, it's more of the latter.
Yes, right. Because we often talk at them, right?
Yes, yes.
It doesn't mean that they've tuned us out or not. So while I don't have children, I've worked with teenagers for over 17 years. And if you've known me for anything longer than a month, you'll have known that my secret weapon is my mom, who is just, I don't know, when my nephews were little, and we would go to playgrounds with them to play, all these kids would start running up to her to ask them to play too. She's just one of those people that kids kind of are just drawn to.
Yeah. She's drawn to.
She will tell you it's because she's their same height, because she's 4'11". That's
my mom's height.
Yeah, is it really?
Yeah.
That's why we get along.
My mom might be even shorter.
Really? That's crazy. So one of the things that I've just seen her do, and that I've replicated in my career as an educator with teenagers, is she just gets them talk. She first tries to get them talking about something that they're interested in. She starts with them. And I have watched her sit and watch for hours my nephews play video games that she neither cares about nor understands. But she listens to it long enough, or listens to them talk long enough and grabs on something that she can ask another question about. Like, she'll go, oh, is that like this? Or could you do this move instead? And then they go on and explain in in ways that she may not even understand, right? Like, we had to finally look up what a jump scare was. But, or whatever, some sort of Fortnite reference or something like that. And
I don't think
skins.
that's in Fortnite. Skins.
I had to look up what skins were.
Skins are, yeah.
All different kinds of stuff. But she just really gets them into the practice of talking. And then because she's also just worked with kids for most of her adult life, she'll jump in on an opportunity to talk about something maybe a little bit more serious here and there. But it really has got to start with getting them talking about what they're interested in and listening to them.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think what's also a neat trick that I've seen her do, and I've replicated frequently, is get them busy doing something.
Yes.
So if you're doing the dishes or working on an art project or a puzzle, something where they're not realizing they're talking to you, that works. And I think that, I think those are the key main things. Keeping them busy and start with things that they're interested in. Don't just jump into a deep conversation like, let's talk about life and what you want to do after high school, right?
I mean, I will be honest. I've had conversations that go just like that. Sometimes because I just need to just get to the point.
But that's also, they're coming to you for a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can allow that conversation to kind of guide the rest of the conversation. Like, what I mean by that is, for example, if you get a student coming in and you say exactly that, like, tell me about your 4-year plan. And they say this, this, and this. So you can ask them, you can start asking these type of open thought questions where it goes towards, what do you want to do when you get older? Like, what are some ideas? What are your interests? And that helps you build, because it's not easy. Like, when you're a counselor, you have to get through all these students, and you have to be knowledgeable of where they're at. And so I allow these type of conversations to happen. So if I'm seeking them out, or they come and seek me, I literally can just go straight to it and just be like, tell me about your plan, like what's going on here, et cetera, et cetera. And so as we're having the conversation, then I build rapport upon that. And so what I also have, another tip is remember things. Have a good memory, because if a student comes in and they have something like an interest of theirs, or if they told you, the next week they're going camping, or that they really like, I don't know, like playing Mortal Kombat, like those are things that you can remember, and the next time that they see you again, or you see them, then you can always ask them a question related to that interest. And so that helps me build rapport. Similarly to your mom, I do the same things that she does as well.
Right.
So having to just sometimes, play a video game or like delve into a sport that you might not be interested in, but if that helps you gain the trust of your student, then that is something that needs to happen.
And I think the big thing is to not come in with an agenda, right?
Yes,
in a conversation.
Definitely.
I mean, you may have to ask them something specific, but if you're just, I would try, a couple times a week, just trying to get them to just chat.
Yes, just talking.
Go ahead.
I agree. I was just thinking about an instance where, I have students that I have to keep up with for their classes that they're remediating online. And so some of these students might come in and they might work on their classes, and that looks more of like just a black and white, like you're coming in, you need to do classes, there's no time for distraction, etc., etc. But I always try to alleviate that by, in the middle of that, I can ask them, questions that might be like, oh, how was your weekend? Or like, did you understand this question? Yes? Okay, cool. If you want, you can take a short break, and then, if you want to talk about anything, like, let's do it. I also have a lot of sensory toys that students like to, that students like to come into my office and borrow at their convenience. And when they come in, that allows me to also check in really quickly. Hey, how's it going? Or like, how did you like this toy? Like, how did it make you feel? Are you feeling stressed today? Like, want to talk about it? And so there's a lot of opportunities for me to meet with the students and talk just by being present and just knowing, like, simply what they're doing and how they're feeling.
Isn't that, when we do that, Miss Lee, after we've had those conversations with kids, and there's that saying, kids say the darndest things, right? Isn't that just rejuvenating?
Yes.
It's just like, this is why we do this job. We get to know these people that are just fun and funny and maybe a little goofy, maybe a little odd.
Yep. And I just thought of something else. When I was an intern as a counselor, my supervisor at the elementary school, and I know you might be like, Miss Lee, we need to be dressed professional to work all the time. And I agree. Like, I do. We do. Right? There's a dress code as well for us as professionals. But my supervisor, she was a counselor at the elementary school. She told me something that I had never forgot is she always wore these Converse to school.
Yeah.
And she said, always have something that is what a kid can relate to you.
Oh,
on.
yeah.
So her having those shoes, like, kids can see her, like, and be like, oh, your shoes, like, she's, also a person. She also has, style, etc. Yeah. And so I try to keep it that way as well. Like, I will sometimes wear, like, my Nikes or, like, my running shoes to school.
Yeah.
Like, keep it business casual on a field trip. Like, I remember a student of ours being like, wow, Miss Lee, like, nice kicks. And then we had a conversation about shoes.
Right.
Every kid is into, like, cool stuff, like shoes and style. And
yeah,
things
I've got like stickers on my water bottles. And things
stickers
like
on your water bottle. Like, so it doesn't need to be shoes, but it could be something that you have on your person that when a student can see it, they could be like, hey, like, that's really cool. And they can spark that conversation with you.
And it's the same thing with parents. Like, show them the cool music that you like. Share your interests with them. Exactly.
Don't be afraid to show them how goofy you are.
Yeah.
Because kids love that.
Yeah. And I think most parents are, but it doesn't hurt to just say it. And one thing I do say is I've heard, I don't know, for some reason on a couple podcasts I listen to that are comedic generally, there are some parents on there and they were talking about how this age when they get to be teenagers, it's this transition with how do you be their friend but also still be their parent.
Yeah.
And and I'm talking to the podcast even though they can't hear me, and maybe I'm not a parent and so maybe I have a different perspective, but this is something that we train our teachers in, train our staff in, that we are not their friends, and they don't need us to be their friend.
Right.
They need us to be a trusted adult who they can run to when they need our help, who will listen to them and love them. But they don't need a friend.
Yes.
And us trying to be a friend is unnatural.
Exactly. And I like to say, I like students to meet me at the same level. So I can meet them at the same level that they're at, meaning just the trust. Like, just knowing, hey, you know, I understand what you're going through. Like, we might have different backgrounds or different, you know, upbringings, but I can understand what you're feeling in this moment, and I can help you resolve what you're feeling. Or, you know, if you're there's a conflict, you know, let me be the person to help you. And so, you know, as you know, I teach an SEL class, and so in that class I often feel like students will talk to me like they're friends, but then when it's time to work, we have to circle back and be like, I have to play like the bad cop and be like, okay, we need to actually put this stuff away and get to it. And so I understand where there's a fine line and there's a boundary that you need to pull off.
I think kids respect that.
Yeah.
I think time and time again, kids are and people want to know where their boundaries are.
Right.
And then I think that if you know that, if they know that core part of your being is, you will do whatever it takes to make sure they succeed, which I know that about you.
Yes.
And I know kids know that about you.
Yeah.
Then I think the rest of it's like, okay, she's telling us to be quiet now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I think like you can see some of the kids start to be like they might know that they can push her a little bit, but they're also like, okay, you know what? Like, we need to actually focus in, and we can get a break next time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I keep things fun, so I'm not trying to keep the class boring. I always try to make things relatable. Like, I like to use, like, you know, I used to work at an IB school where, you know, we had to connect, like, the real world to what we're learning. And so I always try to make these connections. And I know OCP has that same philosophy where we want to duplicate the learning that we have in school on Summit into our real life. So I always try to relate, like, hey, there's a reason why we're doing this. You might think that this is dumb, but I'm going to show you why it's relevant to what we're going to do when you leave the school grounds, when you graduate.
And I think that the take home for parents on that, the application for parents, and neither Miss Leah are saying that, and I are ever saying that we know and are experts as a life of a parent, because neither of us are one.
Yeah, we're not.
We can clock out and they go home to you, right?
Right.
But we do just want to like put that out there that we know a few things at work, and I'm sure, and we really just want to get you guys talking about it with your parent friends about how to best talk with your teenager, how to get them to talk to you.
Yes. And
how to get them to talk to you about the tough stuff.
And doing fun, small things with your child can help that. Like, just working on a puzzle together, or, like, building, like, Legos. Like, those are all, like, everyone has an inner child. Like, no matter how old you are, you have an inner child in you. Sometimes it's good to just, like, let loose and show that fun side with your kid and do some type of bonding experience. Like, even if you guys want to work out together, or, like I said, like, you guys can both sign up for, like, a parent-kid sport together. So there's a lot of opportunities that you can look for to build that bonding experience. And once your kid can see, hey, you know, they're actually really fun.
Oh, and they will make fun of it.
Yeah, they will.
But don't let that stop you from it, because they will. It's part of them processing it, believe it or not.
Yeah, it is.
There was something that we were talking to the kids about, personal bubbles. And I told the staff, I said, they're going to make fun of it.
Yeah. And
you're going to hear them play with the words. But the reality is, it's reinforcing it.
Exactly. As long as you know that you're going to be laughed at, then live with that, but know that it's something that's going to help you. Like, I always remember, like, the times where my mom actually did fun things with me, and she has this fun side. Like, she's really, actually really silly and goofy. But, like, growing up, like, my mom was really strict, and so I never really saw, like, her have this, like, fun, like a child. Like, I've never seen her like have so much fun until like I graduated high school. I wasn't living there when I was in college, of course, so I wasn't giving her a lot of stress. But once we reunited back after college, I could see that my mom was actually really interested in doing a lot of different fun hobbies. Like, she liked doing Zumba, and she liked trying new recipes, and she like is really into basketball, like watching basketball. And so those are things that, like, it's almost like I was getting reintroduced to my mom and like starting a new relationship with her as an adult, seeing her like go through all these different experiences, and I was like, wow, my mom is actually really fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did make fun of her, and I still do, but it's what helped me see her in a new light and made me feel closer to her.
So it's like you don't have to be their friend, but you do need to show how you're human.
Exactly. Like, my mom definitely gave me a lot of advice and stuff, even when she was having fun, and I respected that. And so it was nice to see how happy she was and how I could be like her as a parent.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's a good conversation, Miss Lee. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
All
Signing
right.
off, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.